91.88 respectively. That was the ones that were done in 2025 or 2024. It's contained in this report. We still have not had the inspection for 2025. It should be in the next number of weeks. During Q4, there was one precautionary boil water issued by Aqua after we cambered the Sebringville well and found a hole in the casing, which you're aware. And it stayed on until the samples came back showing that the water was safe. Council approved the replacement of the well, and that was completed January 23rd, 2026. It's online. And as such, we've had no issues with the well today. So, yeah, thank you all for your support. It was great, like how quickly you got it. The ministry, the Board of Health, everyone pitched in together and we got it done as quickly as we could, so. The operational summary for the Q4 report. The alarm summary for the third quarter shows 8 and 5 alarms respectively for Sebringville and St. Paul's. This is a marked decrease for both sites overall. This is due to UV and well issues in Sebringville, while St. Paul's experienced some power issues as well as some chlorine issues. Some of them had to do with the power issues. Some of this was related to the well work we do. In Sebringville on October 14th, we cambered the well. That's when we discovered that there was a hole in the casing. We issued the precautionary boil water until we get the sample results back. October 20th, there was low chlorine due to a broken fitting. December 3rd, there was a high chlorine corrected by pump setting. Not all of these alarms resulted in adverse water quality incidents. Some of them were simply call-outs. December 5th, we were doing work on the well, putting the well back online. We had some issues with both the power and the chlorine. December 8th, 12th, and 16th, chlorine issues due to maintenance and some work on the well. Some of it was switching from well truck back and forth. December 22nd, we had a power failure. So St. Paul's, November 20th, we replaced the analyzer probe and the chlorine analyzer. It caused issues with the chlorine reading for several hours as the new probe was breaking in. December 6th, we had an adverse water quality incident, a low chlorine after a compression fitting broke on the chlorine system. December 29th, the generator had been running since December 27th. The generator failed. I don't know if you all remember that December 29th was a very windy, snowy, kind of blustery day. Everybody was driving very slow. We did get a low pressure. We got here, the pressure was at 18 PSI. If we had gotten here 10 minutes sooner, it would have been 20 PSI and we would have had to call it in. All samples were within limits for the fourth quarter. Aqua did receive one community concern in 2025. On October 22nd, 2025, a concerned citizen called in about the Sebringville well, and the customer was advised of the enhanced sampling schedule, correspondence with the Ministry of the Environment and the local Board of Health, and the actions that were being taken to fix the well. They seemed satisfied with the answers at that point. We haven't heard back from them at any rate, so we're hoping that they're happy with what they learned. There are no other details that I was really going to highlight from these. Does anyone on council have any questions about any of the reports?
Any questions for Anton? Go ahead.
I have one question, but it's not really related to the reports.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Back in September, council received a report from Watson Associates.
Yep.
Forecasting some of the repairs we're gonna have to make in the 2 different well systems over the next few years. I'm wondering, this is not there to ask you now, but would it be possible for you to come back and give us an update? If anything has changed on that?
Absolutely. Yep. I submit a major maintenance recommendation to Ken every year. It happens to be it's part of the contract that I give it to him in October, but if you want it earlier,
Well, the reason I wondered here is, this was September, since then we put a new well in the system, I just wondered if anything's changed, like, UV lamp or analyzers or anything.
Yeah.
Just, yeah,
Yep.
if you would be able to do that.
I'll make a note, I will get it to you early this year.
Thank you very much.
Should be within the next little bit.
Are we scheduled for a new, system here in St. Paul's? Cause we did do
The well,
an exchange.
when was our scheduled?
I haven't got into that one. So yeah, the original tender
Yeah.
was for the St. Paul's well, so we have Aardvark, they had wanted to wait until the weather was better and planned on doing that work this summer.
Yeah.
I don't have an exact date from you.
Yeah, my understanding was the original date was, April, but that's pretty swampy. The ground is very wet. The weight of the truck, it probably would be better to wait a little bit. But yeah, whatever works for you all and Ken and the Aardvark, we'll make it work whenever it happens.
Okay, perfect. Councilor Carter?
Will that would all be drilled, Ken, behind the stones that are protecting the other one? Like, there's no room to put it other than.
It's gonna be in a different location, we'll have to relocate the stones, once we, decommission that.
There's not many options there, it's not very much room.
No, it has to be so far from, I think it's, but that won't get sold, but it still has to be a certain distance, whatever.
You want a certain separation between the two wells so that the old one doesn't interfere with the operation of the new one.
I'm not sure of the exact distance, but it's gonna be in the front, area there, I think that the plan is a little bit closer to Perth line 20.
Yeah.
Kind of in line with where the other one is and avoiding the higher lines above, so,
Yeah.
okay.
The truck will have to be parked on the road, closing that lane probably for a while. Sorry.
No problem.
There's no other place to put it. It's just gonna have to back up. Really.
Yeah, there's that separation distance from the generator.
Yeah,
The existing septic system and stuff, which makes us have to come towards Perth line 20 more away from the existing, but it's not far.
No, reports look great. Thank you very much. I have a recommendation that the 2025 annual water reports to the Sevierville and St. Paul's water systems be received for information. Moved by Councilor Vanessa, seconded by Councilor Corview. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. And a second recommendation that the 2025 fourth quarter operational report for the Sevierville and St. Paul's drinking water systems, as well as the Kirkton Woodland small water drinking system, be received for information. Moved by Councilor Corby, second by Councilor Bell. All those in favor? Carried. Any opposed? Carried. Thank you very much, Anton.
thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Safe drive home. And we're at 7.2, the Perth County Economic Development and Tourism Update. Justin, you have the floor. Thank you for coming.
The presentation's been pulled up, so while that's happening, good evening, Mayor Board members, Perth South Council, pleased to be here on behalf of our economic development tourism team from Perth County to provide our 2026 program update. Many of the activities will be familiar to folks here as it's continuation of some of the momentum we built in 2025, as well as there are some new initiatives as well that we're launching this year ahead. So please be here. Next slide, please. Thanks. Our team actually mentioned a little bit different than when we were last here. So there are familiar faces, obviously, Mayor is our Director of Economic Development and Tourism. But we do have a bit of a shift there. So Amy Arbuck was recently joined our team as an Economic Development Officer. Amy came from Norfolk County and also has been working at the University of Waterloo in their economic development program. So she's very well qualified and suited to working in rural environments, and we're happy to have her join our team. As well, Shannon Landreth, you'll see in the bottom left, so she's been working with us with past little while as contract economic development officer and has actually moved in to take on some of our tourism duties while Claire, our current tourism officer, is on that leave, expecting her back, I believe at the end of this month or early into April. So again, a little bit of a different look to our team than the last time we were here, but we remain, committed folks helping our business owners, here in Perth County for service. Next slide, please. So strategic priorities, so everything we do aligns with our strategic priorities that we have through our Perth County economic development and tourism strategy. So business retention, expansion and attraction, people workforce development, destination development and marketing, and affordable and alternative housing. So these are the priorities that you'll see reflected in our work plan and in our activities, and they really help keep our division focused on the priorities that are related for us and support our strategy, as well as be responsive to our lower tier needs. So next slide, please. So business retention, expansion, and attraction, this really is the core of everything we do in the economic development side, is to support our businesses, to help them stay here, grow here, expand here, and thrive here. So a few things that are on the screen that I'll highlight and you'll see within the report. So our Prosper and Perth Training Program, this is really our business retention and expansion program that we've developed over the last number of years, but it's more than just kind of our strategy or our surveys or our interacting with businesses. Really, there's a number of components that fit within that. So the surveys are obviously one part of it. Our business tours, training and workshops that we offer, networking events, our Planted in Perth County series that we launched last year. Really, all of these things support our current business community, helping to understand their needs through our survey and then be responsive to those through workshops, training, and the resources that we provide. So in 2026, our business retention, expansion, education and training component will focus largely on practical competitiveness. So some of the topics that have been brought forward through our business retention expansion survey are things like AI. So AI for business is a large focus that our businesses let us know was top of mind for them. Agribusiness funding support, support for grant and loan programs. So both understanding what's available as well as support in applying for those grant and loan programs. Marketing assistance, both digital and social media assistance, as well as succession planning. So these are the topics you'll see reflected throughout our lunch and learns, our training, and the workshops that we offer this year. So in addition to supporting our current and existing businesses, we're also helping to promote Perth County for new investment and business expansion opportunities. So we do this through our maintaining land inventories, working with our industrial and office realtors, maintaining strong partnerships with the investment attraction organizations, both at the province and federal government, working through our partners at the Southwestern Ontario Marketing Alliance, and really just making sure that Perth County is considered for available opportunities of new businesses coming to our region, and ensuring that our businesses that are here know about the available funding and programs that there are for their expansion. Next slide, please. People and workforce development. So this workforce remains a priority area for our division. So we continue to promote our workforce attraction and retention employer toolkit, which is a best practice resource of attraction and retention tools that other businesses across Canada have used and developed, and we've curated those and developed some toolkits for businesses to implement. We continue to work with our local schools through events like our Pathways and Destinations event that we host with local high schools. We offer some training. So our Welcome Communities training is one example of how we help to empower our workers in our existing businesses, supporting young folks to stay and grow here in Perth County. So we do that through a variety of initiatives. One of those that I'd highlight would be our summer company program, which Perth County has been a strong supporter of, helping young folks start and grow a career through starting a business in Perth County. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that for the workforce component. So next slide, please. And the destination development marketing, this really is our tourism program. So again, lots of familiar stuff that you will have hopefully seen before. Continue to promote Perth County through multimedia campaigns, targeting audiences, including in GTA, London, Kitchener-Waterloo area. This year, we're increasing our Discover Tourism brochure distribution, so in past years, we've continued to grow the distribution of that, targeting hotspots, both locally as well as into those markets that I mentioned. So this year, we're looking to distribute up to 90,000 copies of that. Continue to promote and recruit businesses for our Discover More Flavored Farmgate map, as well as other initiatives such as the Bakery Trail. And one other program that we like to highlight is our Signature Experience programs. This is helping businesses across the Perth community develop a marketable experience, helping them kind of determine a price point for that, supporting them in marketing with photography, videography, coaching, and then the launching of that signature experience. So that's one of our key signature experience or key tourism programs that we continue to build this year is signature experiences. And then a new program for 2026 is our Frame and Find wayfinding signage project. So actually the RFP for this just closed last week. And through this tourism wayfinding signage, we are going to be developing tourism wayfinding signage strategy, as well as the installation of some tourism signs. So this is really designed to complement existing signage programs and not to replicate what's available at municipal level or provincial programs that really define that gap. So we're bringing lots of folks to our region, promoting these signature experiences, our farm gates. But in many cases, there is some that signage to help kind of let them know they're on the right track. So the strategy will help us kind of identify a couple tiers of implementation, and then we're hoping to get that first tier implemented as well this year. So that's an exciting project that really kind of helps to build that tourism brand that we kind of created over the last few years. Next slide, please. So looking ahead, there's a couple of specific items on the screen. I talked about the signage program. Perth will be hosting the Municipal Agricultural Economic Development Planning Forum this coming fall. This is a gathering of economic development planning folks from across the province who will be coming to Perth County. We're hosting that in partnership with Invest Stratford and as well as province. A great opportunity to showcase Perth County. There'll be some parts of that will be interactive and having folks from these other communities out and about across Perth County kind of seeing what we have to offer. So really excited for that. We also will be welcoming the Minister of Agriculture later this year, who we were meeting with during Roma. And we're really looking to promote some of the agribusiness programs that are available. I know that they're available, but talking to the province, there may be better ways we can communicate that information out to our business community. So that's one of the hopes we have, in addition to giving our agricultural producers opportunity to kind of have some face time with the minister as well through a round table. Our lunch and learns, so these are kind of a recurring and regular component of our program that we've really kind of leaned into, helping businesses gain some insight on one of the topics of interest that they've identified through a short, really focused lunch and learn format. So we recently had one on AI, I mentioned. We're having one on April 21st for agricultural funding support. So this is focused for the agricultural community, helping them, again, know about those programs that are available, as well as giving some tips and tricks to apply to those programs. And then maybe lastly, I'll just speak about an upcoming event we're doing in partnership with the Huron-Firth Catholic School Board. We're supporting them in a Pathways event, which brings students in to understand kind of careers that are available in skilled trades. There's a women in skilled trades component to that as well. So yeah, excited to be asked to be a partner on that program as well. So I think that kind of rounds out my presentation. Again, just a flavor of some of the things that are contained within the report. Yeah, happy to answer any questions that might be done.
Any questions for Justin? Councilor Martin?
Quick question on the Pathways event. Now, it sounds like it's something you're supporting, not something you're running, so I'm just wondering, is that open to the kids within the public system as well, or is this just kids in the Catholic system?
So this one, I believe, is just for the Catholic systems. We have done other events with the public board as well. In meeting with the representative, like they would like to do things more collaboratively because we're bringing, players together, but I think there is some, some areas where they can't for whatever reason, so. This event particularly is for the Coffee Board, but we have worked with the public board on their coffee events, including last year, we had at Mitchell High School. So that would be approach us, but we'd be working with any board that would want us or approach us, sorry.
Counselor Carney?
Do you keep any data, say, for Perth South, that new businesses looking to establish in, say, Perth South, and they phone and ask questions and that, and then along the process, they actually land? Do you keep any data on that? Just be curious to see how many inquiries you have Perth County wise and maybe Perth South wise. But is that something you track?
Yeah, so through the mayor, so we do track all new inquiries we receive. Most often they're not location specific, so they're more looking for our region, and then we would direct them to available properties that might fit their particular requirements. So we definitely track the number of inquiries that we receive, as well as the ones that we get through our kind of our outreach activities. In most cases, they're not per se specific. We're company from here looking at the region, what's available that might fit our requirements, whether it be location or the site wise or something like that. So I don't think I could reliably give you a kind of a per se specific number, unfortunately.
Counselor Martin?
Is there an expansion of the farm gate program that you had last year where there were carts available? Is that something that's running again this year?
So I think we're thinking about our where does this give me our farm gate stands, farm gate stands. So now the program, we kind of partnered with 3 high schools to build these farm gate stands that were available to businesses. So we had, there was 10 that were built last year. In that case, it was largely dependent on participation from the school board. I know there was some challenges. Wasn't my specific program, but I can't speak directly to that. The challenge of timing versus, interest in building one versus when the school, the different terms and when kids could kind of do that. But that was a kind of a bit of a pilot program. It's not, I think, particularly part of our work plan for this year. I think if the school board were to approach us and say we're interested in doing it again, we could definitely, work with them to do that. But it just, it was a bit of a pilot last year, and there might be some fine tuning with, timing and how that's offered to make it more feasible. Because I think there was a bit of the school year didn't quite line up nicely with when we wanted to build the maximum.
Was that led by your team or was that led by the boards?
That was our project, So we approached the boards to partner on that. It was a great initiative. There was there was a few businesses across the county that were interested, and they all kind of linked to each other. So we're hoping to create a bit of a package, so it's not just a one-off farm stand, but you go to one and it's got a QR code and kind of find out where others are. So it was again a pilot initiative, not explicitly part of our work plan for this year, but definitely something that we'd be open to approach again.
Any other questions? Counselor Vanessa?
Just looking through your projects and programs there, Justin, you have one building permit track. Could you fill us in what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Through the mirror. So this is something, it's really just a bit of a data collection exercise, because, at the county level, the lower tiers are, quite familiar to getting building permit reports and kind of understanding what's going on from industrial, commercial, and agricultural building. At the lower tier level, whereas at the county level, a lot of that information doesn't get filtered up. There isn't kind of a roll up of all that. So through this kind of more regular data collection presentation as part of our county report, really just hoping to paint a bit of a better picture of business expansion across the county, rather than kind of maybe the siloed approach that each municipality gets. So that's just a bit of a data collection and roll up exercise. So we're hoping to again paint a bit better picture of what's going on at county level.
Okay, thank you. Another question, if that's all right. Perth County is, I would say, is a fairly rural county, a lot of agriculture. Just wondering, how much work does economic development do with primary producers?
Yeah, so, thank you through the mayor. So one of the, you know, agriculture is part of everything we do. So all of our programming and all of our initiatives almost always have an agricultural component. I know you spoke to the primary agriculture piece, so I did actually look through our business retention engagement surveys to try to find out if there was some unique insights that were agricultural specific or primary agricultural specific. What I did find, many of the things that they were asking for through the survey was very similar to what kind of broader business community was asking for. So information on available grants and funding programs, marketing support, and succession planning was also one of the things that was a bit of a higher part of the agriculture businesses that responded to our survey than kind of the business community at large. So yeah, our support for the agriculture community, again, is kind of part of everything we do, but you know, a couple of the initiatives I thought I might highlight would be the iFarm event that we are a partner on during. So that's with the commodity groups. It's an opportunity for young folks to come through and see careers in agriculture, the impact of agriculture. We've often worked with the OFA on various initiatives. So this past, not last week, the year before, we did a farm tour with the OFA, taking mostly urban youth out to visit primary agriculture farms to see, you know, what goes on in the farms, so they have a better understanding. We work with the school boards to develop some of the career resources for agricultural careers. So whether it be career cards, we work with some school boards to develop some actual curriculum around agricultural pathways. As I mentioned, a couple of events, the agricultural and economic development planning forum and the roundtable with Minister of Agriculture as kind of two upcoming initiatives that we're gonna be highlighting primary agriculture as key components of both of those. So yeah, it really is, again, kind of a portion of what we do filtered, you know, it has all of our programs have usually an agricultural component. And there are, you know, some areas where we kind of work more closely with primary producer, more so the like the representative organizations, the OFA and the commodity groups to do specific initiatives, whether it be the art farm events, as I mentioned, or farm tours, that kind of thing. So I think one of the things that I did want to mention was the upcoming lunch and learn. We're going to be focusing specifically on agricultural funding. So we do understand that that's an area where there is the business we know about those funding programs are often the ones we regularly apply. We like to make sure that that information is more well known. So that's one of the topics for our upcoming lunch and learn would be agriculture specific funding. So what are the programs? How do you apply? And then we'll have some ministry folks there as well to hopefully take that knowledge and turn it into some applications.
Okay, thank you. Just one last thing, if that's okay. Just wondered, can you also, when you talk to people, can you mention that Perth County does not have development fees on agriculture yet? I know Perth South has had 2 livestock buildings put up here that wouldn't have come to Perth South. But counties further to the west of us now have development fees on agriculture buildings, and those opportunities came to Perth South instead. So just something to keep in mind as when we do your building permit. And the last thing here is you have all these wonderful places you go. Is it possible that you would consider going when you're in Europe to go to Agritechna and promote Perth County at Agritechna? It's the largest agriculture show in the world. I think it's a wonderful place to go there. You're dealing with primary producers and certainly agribusiness from all over the world.
Yeah, so through the word, and we were there last year at Agritech.
I just didn't see the name of it.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes there's a bit of a cycle to the shows that we go to, just so there is some continuity, but also an opportunity to kind of spread the resources around. So yeah, myself, I wasn't personally there, but I've heard good things about it. So definitely noted for the next year program.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Councilor Bell?
Thank you for the presentation. So you've mentioned the succession planning. Just curious if you could expand on that, and so you, I guess, sort of back up step. You did mention that you did that for primary agriculture, operations.
So, yeah, through the Mayor Solar Succession Planning, we've done a few different things over the past couple of years. So we had a webinar, a couple of years ago where we brought in a succession planning expert. It wasn't, specifically focused on agriculture, it was more just general, kind of steps you should take to, conduct the succession planning, like what's involved. So we've done that in the past. We did make available, so Huron County actually offered an agricultural succession planning, couple of different sessions. So we made that available to any Perth County offered wanted to attend the session. We were taking care of the registration costs to help remove that barrier. The province actually just recently launched Succession Ontario, which is they're calling it like a one-stop shop for succession resources. So still kind of in its infancy. We're hoping that that'll become a really valuable resource we can help share with our businesses, including agricultural businesses. Because there is definitely a need, and there's kind of a lack of a lack of resources. A lot of people are doing succession planning on their own, and I do. One of the things that is tricky with succession planning is not a lot of, when you offer succession planning training or workshops, folks don't really want to put up their hand and say, I'm looking at succession planning. So it's a bit of a balancing act of making the resources available and also allowing folks to access that in a way that's comfortable for them. So, yeah, it is a bit of it's always a bit of a challenge, how to effectively do that without, having a business that doesn't want to let folks know they're looking to sell or move on. So.
Thank you.
Great. So we're looking forward to big, better signs and looking forward to Trevor Jones coming to the area for the tour, roundtable. And then the event in September, also crossing our fingers that Perth South has a stop on that. Be great.
Passing on to I'm not part of the organizing the team, but I'm part of the team, but not one of there is a committee that's involved in that, so I'll make sure I get everyone.
Yeah, well, they've got great options in Perth County, like some of the Gray Ridge just opened up. I mean, that's gonna be a fantastic facility, so. Good things happening in Perth County. Thank you very much. I have a recommendation that the Perth County Economic Development and Tourism Update be received for information. Moved by Councillor Bell, second by Councillor Martin. All those in favor? Carried. Thanks very much, Justin. You're doing have safe drive home to London.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, we are at item 8, the Director of Public Works. Ken, your floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Orr. First report is my update report. I've been working on our municipal drinking water license renewals. We've had some draft back and forth, and Aqua has helped review, just making sure that the final permits and licenses we get meet our requirements. So just a minor, adjustment for trying to get included in that. So hopefully we get those back soon. The tender for, or the RFP, I guess, is for the community center sign back at Perth and Woodham. I'm expecting to get the prices tomorrow. So hopefully that goes well. And just a bunch of other regular things I've been working on. If anybody has any questions, happy to answer.
Any questions for Ken? Councillor Jeff Bell?
Thanks, Ken. Just out of curiosity, do you know if there's been a number of bids or bids on the Kirkland Woodham sign RFP?
I'm not 100% sure. I know we've received one that came in by courier. We haven't opened it yet, but there may have been another one come in today, even if we haven't moved on one for sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Councillor Vanessa?
Just a question, was there any, no? No, sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
Problem. I see, Ken, that we were successful in our grant application for 3700.
Yes, thank you. That's very happy with that.
Yeah. Do a little more promotion of the tree power, I think, though, so, because I would like that money spent in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it's gonna be in Kirkton this year?
Well, I've reached out to Upper Thames,
Yeah.
just to make sure that, I think they're focused on some of the other programs now, but.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about location, but that's kind of our plan was to alternate back and forth, so normally the Upper Thames is fine with that for the tree pickup date back in Kirkton. Similar time frame. I don't think they have an exact date yet, but I know they were planning on, whatever, second week of or whatever, kind of matches up with before, unless anybody wanted something changed.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, so I have a recommendation that Director of Public Works update report be received for information, moved by Councilor Vanessa, seconded by Councilor Corview, all those in favor, any opposed, carried. And we are at item 8.1B.
Thank you. My next report here is, I would like to get some of our, projects, out for tender. So I'm just asking council for early approval. I've got basically two tenders out of the capital works that I was kind of focused on here. First tender is for the Station Road reconstruction. I'd like to get that tender out soon. The process adds a bit of time, by the time we get it advertised, time to close. Contractors bid on it, it comes back to council, and then they got a schedule to get the work started. And I don't wanna delay too long, or they may not get the work started until after they get other projects done, and then they kind of put our project off until, it fits into their schedule, so we can get it. Ideally, if we can get it out to tender early, we can get it in their schedules earlier and get the work done, in the prime summer construction season. The other tender is for the asphalt paving, which is kind of a similar thing. I'd like to get that work done in the prime summer construction season, get on contractor schedules. So that's why I brought forward to council for your consideration to have the tenders approval to get these projects out to tender. I would bring the tender results back to council for approval, but this kind of gets the process started.
Any questions for Ken? Councilor Kirby?
I'll just give you a point of view on the asphalt paving. I know Station Road is a beast by itself. I do agree with Ken, I think it should get out sooner than later. One question about Station Road, Ken, is there's a lot of underground infrastructure that has to go on, I guess, storm sewers and stuff. So will BM Ross be part of that? Will they have somebody on site to make sure things are done right, or how to?
Yeah, that'd be the intent of it. So DM Ross is working on the tender, so they would create the tender document, would go out. And then they would be involved in the construction inspection as well, because there's some, along with the road paving and stuff, there's curbs and storm sewers. Catch basins, and sidewalks, associated works, it's part of the project then.
And as far as the paving go, and this is my personal point of view, I'm disappointed that we're not part of the Perth County tender. To me, there is beneficial factors that go along with that, like, they keep a person on site. And we've been with Perth County before, and so I'm wondering if council, to that, the second point of that, I'll finish this here. If council's okay with it, I would like Ken to have some direction to explore the possibility of joining the Perth County tender process. And it'll save us a lot of time and process, and we've been with Perth County before, so if it's already with council, I would suggest that. And then my second point is I talked to Ken a lot about this over the last couple of weeks. 2-inch base or a 2-inch overcoating gives us 4 inches of asphalt. And the equipment on our roads is so much heavier. I just think we're falling behind the times a little bit, and I would prefer to have like a 2.5-inch base coat or a 2.5 inch overlay, and then say on, if we agree to do line 14, it's 2.5, and the next year it's 2.5 to give us 5. I think our roads are getting beat up, and the lifespan will be a lot better. Within 2 years, we have an extra inch on, and that asset will last a lot longer, so. And we did talk about it, it seems like a concession would cost us about 50,000 more for an extra 1/2 inch. So at the end of the day, we'll have to see what that looks like in our budget. So I'd like to give Ken direction to explore the possibility, if council agrees, to join the Perth County tender.
Do you want to make that motion, get it seconded and further
Please,
discussion?
yeah.
Do you need me to read that? You want me to read that? Council Cordy would like council to, give Ken permission to explore working with Perth County.
Yes, for the paving, of just top coating, and I don't know how to word that, I can, it's,
Tendering of paving products.
you know.
Yeah, so this is for the tendering of the projects, so you want our projects to be lumped in with their tender, like, have they?
Yeah,
Started?
We'd like to explore.
yeah, I would call it like our Hawkins paving, not the reconstruction. Right.
Yeah.
Right, so you're pulling out the asphalt paving specifically, okay, so motion on the floor, seconder. Councillor Martin, full discussion, anybody have any more questions regarding that?
I'm just gonna, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Ken, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the idea of a bit thicker, like 2.5 inch base asphalt layer. Yeah, like, we are kind of providing. Like our standard that we were using anyway was like a minimum, thickness you would want on a road. But having a little extra for the heavier loads definitely is a benefit. To the longevity of the roads, so.
This isn't part of the motion, but I think when we're paving and we're out on line 4, can we pave that short strip on line 2? Cause it's gonna fall apart, where to be. We'll have enough,
Can we finish this motion first? It's very confusing. So this motion on the floor is Councillor Corby, seconded by Councillor Martin, that council gives Ken direction to explore hot mix asphalt paving with the Perth County tendering process.
Cause they'd have to agree to it, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any more discussion on that? Councillor Vanessa?
Would it be possible that Ken could bring that answer yea or nay back to us for the April 2nd meeting? And just if it happens to be no, we can still put tenders out on April 2nd then, or 3rd, I guess, whatever that is. Or how do you want to do that? And just for clarification.
Mhm.
What do you,
Through the mayor, I can get started on it right away. I can't guarantee how quickly I would get answers back, but I would think by April 2nd, I should be able to have some answers back, and and then if we need to, we have time, we're still relatively early to get that tender or the project ready to go, so. I'm
Yeah,
okay
we
with
have
that.
to get approval from the county and approval from,
The contractors and stuff, yeah.
okay, so that motion, any more discussion on that?
Just a question on the line 14 part. I know when the county did line 32 years ago, they actually did the gravel work, and then they watered it, graded it, and it took them about 3 to 4 weeks before they actually did the paving coat, just watered it, settled it, packed it. I wonder, do we have the opportunity to do that with line 14? Because line 14 really is a truck route for St. Mary's. We're gonna keep a lot of traffic out of St. Mary's, so we're gonna have heavy traffic on it, and that road gets beat up already. And if we pave it, it's only gonna get more traffic, so I just hoping we do it the right way.
Mhm.
You know, an extra 1/2 inch would be great, I believe he's on it, but just the actual base of it. Like don't just grade it once and pave it and we're done, right?
It's all weather related, is it not?
Well,
Helps,
right.
yeah, through the mayor, my plan, if we were gonna go into that project was, I would even want to get a couple, boreholes done, in a couple spots. Where we do get some potholes now to make sure the base is good, and then, if we had to do any spot, repairs, get that work done and water it, back it. The traffic is gonna help with the compaction, as well, so, just trying to give it lots of time to.
Thank you.
Councillor Crowley?
I agree 100% with Jim. A lot of heavy traffic comes off number 7. It's hard to believe what goes past the lumberyard there. But, can we have it in the tender that it can't be paved any less than 30 days after it's ready? Like, I don't know how to word that, but I agree that with Jim 100%, they shouldn't be grading like 5 days after it's graded and ready. I think it needs to be traffic viable. Is that something we can put in the tender? Ken, that there should be a 30-day delay on paving before they pave? Like they'd have to come back and grade it again. But how,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was, generally you wanna do some grading right before the paper to get rid of any, rocks or turn marks that's happened in the base, so you kind of wanna have grading done, like some prep work will say done in advance, but then you wanna have grading done immediately before the paving, not 30 days before, so.
well, we seen it on one road on 125. They dug a culvert across. In like 5 or 6 days, they paved it, and then we had to put a second coat on because it sunk, so. I'm just trying to avoid, things like that. I mean, there might not be culvert work on line 14, but. I just think it's important that it gives time to settle and pack.
Yeah.
You can think about it.
We'll try and make sure we
Yeah.
get a good product.
Okay, any more discussion about that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. And now we're gonna talk about Station Road reconstruction. Any comments, thoughts?
Yes. I was bored, I was interested when we were opposed.
Any thoughts?
Okay, sorry, yeah, so Station Road, I think, it's important to talk about this because I know there's concern from the community on, moving ahead. Can we, speak either Will maybe on, or Ken on to, if we move ahead with the reconstruction of the road, does that cost become part of only the municipality? Is the grants, contingent on the subdivision being? Yeah, so I think there's misinformation out there, so if we could have this on the record.
Sure.
Yeah.
Through the mayor, the grant and the EA process are two entirely different.
So for clarity, we will not lose the grant on this road if the subdivision doesn't go ahead.
That is correct.
Thank you. And then one more quick question for Ken on this. So it says that, BMRS is finalizing design for the, tenders to go tomorrow. Have you seen the design?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be quite ready for tomorrow, but, I haven't seen the final design, we've talked about it lots, I've seen those snippets and of some areas that we were working on fine tuning. So no, I haven't seen a pretty fine package yet, and I'm pretty sure we won't see it tomorrow, but, soon. Yeah.
So your team would see that before, we would have an eye on it before it goes out to tender.
Yeah, as soon as they get ready, they can send me a little bit of information all along, so, maybe this week. But that was the goal, keep them working on it and getting it ready soon.
Okay.
Councillor Corbin?
So this is only per south and the grant. There's no other monies that come in from a negotiation with anybody else. This is separate from the subdivision all completely.
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did look at the wording on the grant, if you want me to read it.
If you would like to, I think more clarity for those that are.
Sure. So the MHIP and the HECS, so that is Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program and a Housing Enabling Core Service. will fund projects aimed at the development, repair, rehabilitation, and expansion of municipal roads and bridges to promote growth and enable housing for growing and developing communities. So, again, I go back to the staff had applied for the grant. I think it's great that we got the grant. And I think what Ken is asking today is for, he wants to get started so that we can save money and not leave behind. Because again, if we get stuck in the, okay, we don't get it done by this time, then we could get into trouble back. But we are still waiting for some more information. I'm not sure what the MECD is waiting for, but once that gets taken care of, I'm hopeful that it's coming soon. Councillor Jeff Bell?
Yes, regarding this, and I was wondering if you could speak to what the improvements would be on Flats Mill and on Boyce Street.
Yeah, sure. So on Flats Mill Road, there's a culvert. It's that same Iverson drain that runs under Station Road. So both culverts, so the one under Station Road and the one under Flats Mill Road, through inspection, they're done, they're due for replacement. So part of the work that they're designing would be replacement of those culverts and then curb and some catch basins, bringing the water, off the intersection of Station Road and the systems connecting into that drain for outlet. And I guess the road work as well, so the asphalt paving on Flax Mill. No sidewalks proposed on Flax Mill, it's just a short section there, so it will basically be repaved and some curb and stone work done on it. For Boyce Street, there's two components that we're working on. The first component is a short section from Station Road past a couple of houses where there currently is no curb and storm sewer work on the Boyce Street. So just, I guess, bringing the curb and storm work around and then connecting the curb up to the existing curb that's already on Boyce Street. Then the plan would be in 2027, along with the surface paving on Station Road, to do some paving and repaving on Boyce Street as well. So that's I guess on Flax Mill and Station Road, the intent is to get, the construction work and base asphalt done this year. And then the surface asphalt work over everything next year, in case there's any settlements or anything, give it time. And then that meets the requirements for the grant, which needs to be, all the work needs to be completed by March 31st of 2028. So you can't get any paving done except for in 2027 or so. Yeah, so that's the intent of the whole project. It's grown a bit to include that work on Flax Mill based on the need for the road and the curb and stuff on Boyce Street, which all of that stuff was in our 5-year plan to be done. In the next few years, so it's a good opportunity to get it all done.
So you could technically do the preliminary work, put it out for tender, but we don't have to approve it yet. And hopefully the two will align, is my hope.
Yeah, definitely the tender will come back for council's approval before it goes ahead.
Councillor Purview?
So, Ken, what kind of base coat will be, like, there may or may not be heavy traffic on that road, so what would you, in that tender, is it 2.5 inches or 3, or like, I don't know about Station Road?
I would expect it's based on our current standard of 2 inches of base and 2 inches of surface asphalt on Station Road. So if we wanted, we could ask BM Ross to include that 2.5 inch recommendation.
I think we should.
Station Road would be the one that's likely to get, especially if there is construction and there's farm traffic on it.
Yeah.
Cause that's a continuation of Road, 134. So it's a through fare. as you call it.
Councillor Martin?
So just speaking to that, so this paving will all be done pre-construction? Like we're doing this year? And then should the subdivision move ahead, then the truck traffic will be on that new pavement.
Yes,
Is the grant attached to doing it this year?
through the mayor, the grant has a completion date of March 31st, 2028. All the work has to be completed, or whatever is completed would not be covered by the grant. So then we kind of go backwards. If we want the surface asphalt done next year, then we should be trying to get the road base asphalt road work done this year. Yeah. We're also planning on doing some work at the railway crossing. And that's likely to be part of the surface works in 2027. Cause we've been having some initial discussions with the railway on that, on the crossing, and dealing with the railroads is kind of a project on its own sometimes, so, but we want to get it all done. You know, we're not doing any excavation there, we would just be replacing the pavement, so we can do that along the surface works.
Councillor Jeff?
Sort of one additional thing. I know that there's concern in the community regarding trees along Station Road. Do you see much impact there, or are some of them gonna have to be removed?
The initial information I got from me and Ross is there's one tree that's
Okay.
gonna be in the way, I think it's actually on Boyce.
Okay.
And then the rest of them, they're designing stuff to try and avoid the trees. Their plan is for the sidewalk to be on the west side of the road. There may be some of the work, we'll get into some roots of some trees.
Sure.
And there is some trees there now that are getting to be at the end of their life, I guess you can say. But there's, the intent is to try and keep the trees in place.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So I'll read the recommendation that. Yeah, so this part's gone. Yeah, so this is fine. Okay, that council receives the 2026 capital budget report, and that the council approves following 2026 capital project can proceed to tender prior to the adoption of the 2026 budget. Station Road reconstruction. Moved by Councillor Vanessa, second by Councillor Jeff Bell. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. And we are at Deputy CEO Treasurer Tracy. Who's doing? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Can we go back to, I'm not done with Ken now.
All right, you have one more question.
Yeah, can we add line 2 to that, if council, like, that is starting to look weary and it hasn't been there that long, I think we should recode it while we're out there in line 4, just makes sense to me, and it's just a short strip, so.
Are we out there at line 4?
We are this year,
Yeah, we have through Mary, so the non-part of this, we've already done the line forward,
Okay.
and it was deferred. Because they didn't get to it in good weather last year, so it's been deferred to talk to the contractor, they're interested in getting started fairly soon, like early in the spring, so. And then to Sam's question, the section on line 2 is just a short little bit of pavement, just off the intersection off the hill, and if council wants, we can try and get it, I know that Council Will had inquired about that with me as well, so.
Yeah.
I would like to see about getting that done with our line 4 paving.
yeah,
Do you need a separate motion then?
I think that's a good idea.
Sure.
I'll make the motion.
We wanna-
That we top coat, the short strip on line 2 with 2.5 inches.
Okay.
Of asphalt.
Moved by Councillor Corby, second by Councillor Jeff Bell. Any more discussion on that? Councillor Martin?
Should we be discussing that as part of the budget? And to make a decision to add something without looking at our whole budget process, which we're doing on April 2nd.
Good point.
I'm not saying I'm against it, I'm just saying if we're meeting on April 2nd to look at our budget, maybe that's the time before we.
I guess we're not approving any of these yet, because Ken's gonna look into exploring an auction, so. We can't wait that then.
So we have a motion on the floor. Okay. Any more discussion and we can call the question,
You want me to retract?
or does it need to be?
What we could amend it to say to top coat line 2 for 2.5 inches, to be considered as part of the budget discussion.
Okay.
Okay, so that's amended by Councillor Cordy, you're okay with that? Okay, I'll call the question, all those in favor? Any opposed, carried.
One more question for Ken. So Ken,
Fire tonight.
yeah, I had about 3 hours sleep today. In that, in there, we were talking about blocks, Ken, and what I see there is 3, 2, 1. And 1, so that's 7, and then a short one. We were talking 10 blocks today, so I think it's around 7, isn't it?
I think if you include, line 4. That is, those blocks are longer, so I was considering that to be like 2.5 blocks.
Oh, okay, but we've already, that was already, paid for.
Yeah, I'm just saying, well, the part we were discussing, I was including.
Okay,
Line 4 and line count, something like that.
in that'd be 3 sections, because they're long.
Yeah, it's 2.5 anyway, yeah, there are 3 longer.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically three.
So, do we have to talk to the contractor? Are we laying 2 inches or 2.5 on line 4? We should be laying 2.5, I think.
The tender was for 2 inches,
So how do we,
unless we kind of, included in a motion tonight.
do we leave that one alone and put 2 inches down? I'm not sure what to say about that.
That was the road we had the most difficulty with, right? Yeah. What do you recommend, Ken?
If we're switching to the 2.5 inches, I think it would be a good idea.
Okay,
That road gets a lot of heavy, farm traffic.
Do you wanna wait till budget time, because it does affect us? Budget wise.
I don't know, the tender was already out, we're just,
Yeah, the work would not be completed before March or April 2nd. So we have time.
okay.
Can he explore to look into that option if we have that available to us?
Yeah.
Do you need a motion for that?
You'll have a cost on it then, Ken, for the budget. For an extra 1/2 inch.
Yeah, I can bring that.
Okay.
back for that.
No, that's a good idea.
Explore with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
All right. Councilor Brandon?
Apologies if I misunderstood, it's been a long day,
Yes,
so I noticed when you read the motion, it stopped at Station Road.
yes.
Is that because of what the decision that was made to look at Perth County, and if that's the case, why is Station Road not encompassed in that?
I think the other thing is the asphalt. Everything else is asphalt paving, or potentially be 2 different companies.
2, yeah.
So but there's no, we're proceeding to tender with one, but not to the rest of them.
Correct.
We're going to explore going in Perth County.
Only for the hot mix,
Yes.
not for, okay.
The
Thank
station
you. It's
road
late
is
at night
full
for.
construction.
Yes, there's lots to do.
Thank you, my very deep understanding of asphalt. Not deep.
That's okay.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Any other questions for Ken?
I'm done.
Okay. Anybody else? Great, okay. We are moving on to 8.2, the deputy CAO treasurer, Tracy, I believe you're joining us online.
For you, Mayor, or my council, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
So Tracy's report is 8.2, does anybody have any questions for Tracy? Councilor Martin?
I have a question that's not on here. Tracy, are people able to pay their dog tags with their taxes if you have your system already?
Yeah,
Like, we registered, we check something that says pay my dog tags too, so that we don't have to mail something out.
Yep, they can pay it online. Yep, for sure.
Not, sorry, not, maybe not regular, not online, but as part of regular taxes.
You mean put it on their tax bill?
Or can we give direction to, like our tax clerk or something here that says, please bill that to my information on file?
So if they don't pay it on time, it gets put on their property taxes anyways. But we could start just adding it right onto the tax bill if that's what council would like to see.
It just seems like a lot of extra work for staff to mail out this purple sheet when the rest of them come, online now.
Well, the problem is that when they go on the tax bill, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's always the problem that when you send them out, then you get the calls that they no longer have the dog. So you're always reversing things anyway, so.
Counselor Corby?
What's the cost of mailing out invoice for $10?
Um, I don't know. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Like I got one in the mail and we had to put our dog down, but unless I notify ourselves that we don't have a dog anymore, it's a cost of mailing when you don't get anything back. So I just wondered, I agree with Jamie, why can't we just add it to the text? Well, whether they have the dog or animal anymore, I guess it's a big question.
Yeah.
Not every- like,
Yeah.
some people are tenants, so,
But it can. Oh, we mean tenants that have a dog.
yeah,
Okay.
so they don't have a tax bill.
Oh, yeah.
We're just thinking of ease for staff, if there's some way to, put that within our new digital system where you get this, it's great, Tracy, how you now send us an email with our taxes, so. Anyways, that was just my question on it.
Any other questions for Tracy? Okay, I have a recommendation that the council of the township of Perth South receives the report of the deputy CAO treasurer titled Treasurer February update dated March 17th, 2026 for information. Moved by Councillor Corby, seconded by Councillor Vaness. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. We are at 8.3. Clerk, was that? Thank you, Mayor Orr. You have my, thank you, Tracy. Report. You have any questions? I'd be happy to answer them. There we go. Yeah, so there's lots of election stuff, starting to ramp up. There was one, candidate information session held in St. Mary's in February. And there's a second one, being held in Perth East on March 25th. So, there's lots of, work being done in the background. May 1st is the opening of nomination period, so exciting times. As noted earlier, we still have not heard anything about the Scariglia drain. We've got planning things, but planning has slowed down a bit, so getting caught up on those items. I've been working on the website migration project, so that's moving along nicely. We have the renovation coming up, so we are working on clearing some of the files. We're exploring some scanning proposals for our property files, because we need to get rid of all of those file cabinets, and so yeah, there's lots going on. So, and then also had some training that I've attended, so if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Any questions? Councilor Martin?
Did you hear back on how many people attended, how good the turnout was at this?
I have not, actually. I keep meaning to follow up and I keep forgetting.
I also want to say I like keeping the layout of your report.
Oh,
Under the headings, it's very easy.
I was trying to make it simple. Any other questions for Lizette? If not, I have the recommendation of the clerk's update report be received for information, moved by Councillor Jeff Bell, second by Councillor Martin. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. You are at the CL, MECP, and William CA Stakeholder Information Deck. Oh, that was just part of my, oh, okay, my report. So I, attended the announcement, with regards to the ongoing, consideration of the conservation of the space. And they went from, so the announcement they held on March the, whatever, was, they've now increased the number from 7 to 9. So the decision to, they're still amalgamating the, conservation authorities. But they've made some tweaks based on input that they received from municipalities and conservation authorities. Apparently they received 14,000 comments. So, they now have that ERO decision has gone, sorry, that decision has now gone to the ERO for a comment period. So I included the slide deck that was provided from the, announcement for your information. We did have the chair of Upper Thames reach out. He offered to come to our April 7th meeting to talk to council and answer any questions. I had indicated that I was providing this information to you, and if you had further information, I would confirm his attendance on April 7th if you're interested in that. So
Sorry, that is kind of why I pulled it out, because,
Yeah.
Brian Petrie did, reach out to me as well, wondering if, our council would like him to attend to explain this, or, does our council, would they like to have the presentation done by them, or are you okay with it as is? Councillor Jeff Bell?
I don't know, I think I'm getting very confused about this, so. Some clarification, if it was available, would be appreciated. I know Upper Thames isn't gonna have all the answers at the moment, but they will have the most recent information to bring to us.
So I'm hearing you'd like to
I
have,
would like to have.
everybody else okay with that?
Just, we're probably just gonna say they don't like it. I mean, no matter what happens, it can't be worse than what we deal with now.
Any other questions? So you would like them to come, do you need a motion for that, or?
no, I can,
Councillor Martin?
I'm just wondering about the time of it, right? Is Upper Towns just gonna share with us what they don't like about this and their concerns? Are they asking for?
I don't know, I
They're
saw-
not the experts necessarily on what's happening, right?
No, I did see a list of, they had a letter at one point that you could endorse. Some municipalities endorsed it, some did not. Herself didn't do anything one way or the other. And it kind of showed, like it was, some councils like, yes, we want to, see this change, others are like, no, we won't. So, whether or not that's why it's the trigger that Brian would like to come, it's beyond me, but. I'm happy either way. Are we okay? Are we at least 2 members here? I'm okay to have them come.
I'm all for learning.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering whether they can speak to this presentation the same. But yeah, I appreciate that you attach this presentation. It's helpful.
Well, then I even look at it and I think, okay, this is interesting. Perth County isn't going to be in one watershed still, right? So they're saying the counties are now gonna take over, who's being on the board, but I'm like, so does Perth County get 1, 2, or 3 people on different
Yeah, and those are all details that will come forward as the, but the province seems to be in a rush to move this forward. They, at the announcement, the intent was that after the election, the representatives, like this was gonna be coming forward, and the representatives from county after the municipal election will be the ones representing the new watershed map. Because they want this implemented by February 1st. Yeah, the rationale seems to be that they're looking to have a more consistent approach to how conservation authorities apply their regulations. Now that may mean stricter, it may mean, it could be. Yeah, could be interesting going forward, that's for sure.
Okay, well, Brian, would you come?
Oh, yeah,
Thank you. Okay, you don't need a.
No.
Okay, so 8.3B, the report for the council of remuneration, it's there. And any questions regarding that? I have a recommendation that the report regarding account of payroll February 2026 dated March 17th, 2026, including total payroll of $7,175.73 be approved. Moved by Councillor Corley, second by Councillor Martin. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. And we are at 8.4, CAO, Will.
Thank you, Mayor Orr and members of council. Many of the items in my report have either been touched on or are already included in the agenda package, so I won't touch on everything. Certainly questions after, no problems at all if you have any. Couple of quick points to look at. We are continuing to meet with Luke and Biddulph, looking at the Biddulph Blanchard Fire Department and what that arrangement will look like. I can confirm that the cost formula has now been added to the agreement. Chief Hunter is bringing the agreement to Perth East Council tonight, and then we'll be coming back to Perth South Council on April the 7th to present. So that has now been included. Continuing to work at the governance model for the Kirkton Woodham Community Complex. Have had a couple of meetings now with both the Kirkton Woodham Optimist Club as well as the existing board to see whether there's continued interest. Just a reminder of the options, a joint committee of council could also still be available if those options don't come through, but we're certainly giving the time and the energy to making sure the other options are explored. And then the other item I wanted to touch on from the joint meeting, as has been discussed, really, I think the pinch point that we're at with the Scout Hall property is that you would need to do an appraisal to do really anything going forward. So that's at a point of, would you like to sell it? But it's even as far as what would it take to make South Huron whole in the arrangement. So have not gone ahead, but do have an idea of what the pricing would be for an appraisal. Keeping in mind that the original parcel was 33 feet wide by 132 feet long, was not a building lot even to start with. You split that in half. It's certainly not a building lot anymore. You may be doing an appraisal where the overall value may not necessarily come back to you, but at the end of the day, it's still a required step to really do anything. So unless there were any viewpoints against going ahead, I'm ready to do so. When I say I kind of have an idea on pricing, I'm thinking it's about $2,000 plus tax. And as I say, that's certainly something I'm struggling with myself at the same time, but understanding that's really where you're at. You will stay at this point unless you move forward with an appraisal.
Councillor Corley.
I don't know if it's worth anything. Do we donate it? Like, I mean, what can you do? You can't donate it.
That's the problem. You have to have a value. You can't just give away municipal land.
Counselor Bell?
So I guess, do you need a motion to get the appraisal process or direction or?
I think I'm just looking for direction at this point. It's still well within the purchasing policy, that dollar amount. But
Yes.
again, I just wanna make sure before I go ahead, if anybody had any significant issues that I would halt on that, but. Yeah, it's a tough one. I can see why it's been at this point for probably about 6 years, 7 years.
Right, and it's gonna stay
It's
there.
gonna stay there.
And so unless we provide direction that we get this appraisal done and we just
Yes,
get it dealt with.
that's really what it comes down to.
Counselor Martin, did you have a question?
I have so many questions. Okay, so how would this be sold? So would it go on like deals where we, do we put it up for tender? Like, is it?
I think you have a couple of options. You have declared it surplus.
Mhm.
Once you have the appraisal, you have an idea of the value. Certainly you can sell it for less than the value. But you could sell it in a variety of ways to the neighboring owner. I would be concerned about just selling a 15 by 132 property randomly on the market. Sort of scratching my head over that one.
I just wonder how, I've not been part of something of disposing of property, like,
I like this
I
one.
just
Yeah.
wonder how somebody's like, oh, that's sold, well, I would have liked to have had a chance on this property,
Yeah.
maybe nothing with.
Well,
Like,
Somebody reached out to me, asked about a community garden and I don't think we're.
put a bunch of
Ready.
trees on it, right, like,
Yeah, you may still vest the property even after this, but it gives you that flexibility for later on, even down the road. It could be now or in the future, as I say in the report, so it doesn't have to go next month necessarily, once you receive the appraisal.
so this is just the appraisal, and then we'll discuss it from there.
That's right. That's right.
Counselor Carter?
I guess it's big enough for a tiny home. They're only 8 feet wide.
I asked him about that.
Oh,
It's,
so-
it's not a building lot, any way you look at it. You'd have to get a septic and all the rest of that. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I can certainly understand, the challenges that have occurred over, I guess. all-
So how did it get split in half and what?
So we actually went through that process about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and it would be split in half so that half of it could actually, yeah, you almost have to see a map, but the property extended into an already undersized road allowance. So this would at least square up the road allowance by half of this property going into it.
You want direction?
If, I don't even need formal direction, as long as nobody had any major issues. If people had issues, I would hold going, but I think. As I'm walking through this, I think this is really the only option. Do it now. You don't have to make a decision on to sell it. It just gives you the options.
You're okay?
Absolutely.
Process.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really what it is. And I think that's about all I had, unless anybody did have any questions related to any of the items.
Any other questions for Will? On his first report, so I have a recommendation that the CIO activity report be received for information, moved by. Counselor Jeff Bell, second by. Counselor Vanessa, all those in favor, any opposed, carried. We are at the report for the building condition assessment.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Orr and members of council. It is getting later and my hockey coach's voice is apparently starting to hear. We will do our best. My ultimate goal in presenting the report tonight is to walk through how the report is basically put together. Wasn't necessarily intending on a fulsome discussion tonight, appreciating that there are recommendations and that sort of thing. Really goes back to my recommendation that we do have a breakout time, whether it's part of a future council meeting or we do have a special council meeting to look at it. Also looking at the fact we are missing, two members of council around the table tonight too. But definitely looking, for feedback on if there are any gaps, if you need any further clarification, if there's more information, if you're missing anything here. Certainly looking for that feedback tonight as well. The process has been going on for over a year. As you can see, the RFP closed in April of 2025. So I'm sure there have been some thoughts over the last year already on some of these items. So hopefully that also helps in the discussion tonight. One of the primary purposes, and we should look at this right out of the gates, was really looking at our capital assets for our plan. And I know this report has been very helpful for Tracy. She can get this in the citywide, and then of course we can develop that plan further. But obviously we are on to step B, which is looking at the facilities themselves and seeing what decisions will need to be made over the next number of years. And there are certainly some big ones, and I do appreciate that. I will note for everyone that I wouldn't normally do this, but it is a fairly lengthy report. I have put a page number at the bottom of each page for that reason, that if I do refer to a page, it may not be a page in your agenda package, it's a page at the bottom of the report. Skipping on to page 2. So as I noted, a lot of the work was to do with the capital asset management planning. But as well, really getting into now, would you like to do maintenance or rehab a building? Or do you look at an alternate option? And the options I've listed here, replacement, reimagination, this is something that kind of came to mind as I was looking through it. And I'll explain that in a little bit more detail as we go along here. Or simply remove the building and or dispose of the building. And I think all of those decisions do need to be on the table. Reimagination in particular, and I guess the way I would define that is there is something there. It clearly had a use at one time for exactly what it looks like today. But going forward, does that use meet what the community needs? Or do you keep the facility and maybe rejig it a bit? You know, at one time, maybe it was this activity, but now it's this activity that's more important. So I think we need to keep that in mind. I did notice on a lot of our facilities that they certainly were designed for the time period and the activity going on, but again, there might be something different today that you want to look at. I think it's important as well as we go through to remember this FCI calculation and being fair for what that calculation is actually worth. I think the main thing that I was looking at in this, and somewhat crass maybe to use this type of phrase, but basically it's the are you throwing good money after bad factor. And I think we all get to that with our personal assets, whether it be a car or otherwise. But I think that's really a factor I tried to keep in mind as I was working through this. And then I've laid out here, I've tried to color code, especially as we get going, you're good, you're fair, you're poor, you're very poor, calculations as well as the facilities themselves. Skipping on to page 3 in the report. I've now put these sort of into their boxes. You can see where all of our facilities do fall. Of course, some of these are shared facilities, and we'll get to that as you read the report as well. Big picture for the good facilities. Really what I'm suggesting there is the staff continue to inspect and review the facilities. If there's work to be done, bring it forward for it to be included in our budgeting process. So my thought is just kind of park the good facilities off to the side for now. Certainly if you want to have discussion, that's fine. But I think there are some very big decision points that need to be made around some of the other facilities too. When you get to the fair facilities, moving down page 3, 2 of the facilities, both the Sebringville station and the Grantham station for the fire halls, obviously in different municipalities and ownership with other municipalities. So I have already made one of those sticks up for both of those municipalities. I will be delivering next time I do see those respective staff members, making sure they have that information ready to go as well. But the long and short of it, that really is the recommendation I would have for those stations. Simply give that information to those other municipalities and we'll discuss as we go along. For the other three facilities in that category, we have the water building in Sebringville, the office structure at the Rannoch landfill, and the former township office. Really, I'm back to the good perspective. There's not really a lot to discuss with those facilities right now. I would put those in the good category, and again, staff will monitor. If there's items, we will bring forward for the budget process for consideration. And now we get into the meat of it. So we're gonna be looking at the poor and the very poor facilities. And I should say, that's kind of the way I set it up. It wasn't meant to be coming across as a doom and gloom, but my thought process with all the information, you folks have seen some of these spreadsheets. It was to try to show where are the really, really bad spots and kind of work back up from there. Cause there's still decisions even with those poor and very poor items that you may decide not to go ahead at all on those. So I think as I work now down page 4, a few points to go over. First of all, there are 9 facilities in this area, in the poor and very poor category. A number of those facilities are out at the Kirkton Woodham complex, so that's gonna take discussion obviously with Mosh. I've made a number of suggestions throughout the report as well that there may be community input involved, both directly, if there is some direct or indirect ownership maybe over some of those facilities out there, as well as possibly some community vision. And that can't happen overnight. I'm imagining that could take some time to work through. I'm seeing the governance discussion right now, and it's a very, very good discussion. And I feel like it's being done properly in that the community is getting together, they're working through the issue, and they're looking at the pros and cons, and they've done that a number of times already, both the current board as well as the Kirkton Woodham Optimist Club. And I think that's a really important exercise. I don't think at any time we want to come across as dictating what the end result is. I think it's good for the community to work through the process themselves. I think as well, I want to be fair to the numbers that are included in the report, and we'll see that. I'm going to go through a couple of examples of the facilities. I'm not going to walk through all 9, but the numbers to me, as non-accurate as they may be in many, many cases, I think what it's helped me as I've worked through putting the report together is they sort of hit you, you have a reaction, and then it forces you to dig deeper to ask yourself, you know, you can certainly ask yourself, is that the right number? I've kind of parked that thought, and I've more or less said, do I actually need to know more information? Yes, I do, and I dig. Or I say, you know what, it's not even worth looking at that number in the first place because this might be a total rebuild, or maybe that building doesn't need to be there in the first place. So good to know the number, it hits you, it's a reaction, and then from there you decide where you actually want to go. But I'm not getting hung up on the number itself, so I don't want anybody thinking that either as I've laid that out. Okay. And I should note as well, the recommendations are included throughout the report. I've also done a summary of the recommendations at the end, just so nobody misses any of them. Perfect. So as I say, I'm going to walk through a couple of examples just so we all understand kind of how the report's put together. And again, if there's any gaps, if there's more information you'd like, certainly let me know and I can bring that back. So we might as well start on page 5. You can see at the top, I've included kind of a bar there, shows you where the poor condition facilities are going to start. This first example, of course, is the Public Works building for St. Paul's. Put the name on there, there's a little bit of a picture, can kind of help you walk in there. I've included the FCI value So this one, for instance, is 13%. Of course, you can refer back to the chart on page 2. So you can see, what category that falls into. Again, just sort of laying out how the report is put together. I'm now skipping over onto page 6. So what I've done here, those were certainly large spreadsheets to look through. So what I've tried to do is create a chart to, again, like the chart where I plug the buildings into, I'm just plugging the items under, again, very poor, poor, fair. And I've actually doubled up on good and very good, again, assuming that's probably not something to think about tomorrow. So those items, again, not coming back necessarily for discussion in the report itself, but you can see what items are in fact good and very good still. And then what I've done, once you go through this whole chart here, so now I'm skipping page 7, now we're skipping on to page 8. So I've taken the poor and the very poor, and again, for what the numbers are worth, and again, I guess to be fair to the numbers, we wouldn't know the numbers anyway until we go for tender. So I think that also has to be taken into consideration. Really, with the poor and very poor items, they're really at the end of their lifespan. We can make that assumption. So when you add up all those numbers and you can see the types of items there, hopefully that helps as well in the decision-making process. Is it worth investing in this building, or are you thinking about building something new or different or repurposing or whatever? At the bottom of page 8, I have included information that was included in your PowerPoint presentation that was made back in early February. And this is, it may not align directly with the poor, very poor chart above you, and that would go for any of the facilities. This is how it was suggested that money be laid out over the next 10 years by the consultant. What I'm laying out above that may not perfectly line up. Those are your poor and very poor items. Okay. Skipping on to page 9, I've included, and it wasn't for every single facility, but there were some facilities, they did a designated substances survey, as well as an accessibility and a health and safety review. So I've included that there, and really those are, or that is good information to have to ensure that your facilities are safe and appropriate for both staff and the public entering. I can tell you that the only item that did come up in the designated substances survey was there was lead paint on one exterior door over at the community center at Kirkton Wood. Every single one of your charts you're going to read through are identical, that there is silica in concrete. And mercury in light bulbs.
And silicon topsoil,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
So anybody working in the garden, planting flowers or eating food has crystal silica in their food too.
That's right. But again, all the charts are the same. And then skipping on to page 10, the other item I've added is just some additional information outside, and it's right at the top of page 10. Some information that isn't necessarily included in the building condition assessment, but may be beneficial for your decision-making process. So for instance, for the St. Paul's shop, I looked at the age of the building. There isn't a lot of additional exterior space for storage or vehicle maneuverability. There's no salt or sand storage. It's located in close proximity to residences. Typically, if you put a public works building in today, you're not putting it right in a residential neighborhood typically. So it's things like that you might want to consider as part of your discussion. Human resources, always better to have everybody working under the same roof rather than different campuses. Just some things to think about. It's not make or break. Do have a couple of options as an example for the St. Paul's shop. And then the recommendation is that you look into a central public works complex in the township. Again, not necessarily the point for the discussion tonight, but just to show that there is a recommendation following each. So I think that was one example I wanted to show you. If we can skip ahead now to, let's skip to page 18. And I just want to show a couple of things, once everybody gets it. This is the Kirkton Wood Pavilion as an example, so just to show a couple of nuances as we go through the report. So much of the concept is the same. We'll skip to page 24 now. And really, I'm skipping to the additional comments first. A lot of the Kirkton Woodham additional considerations. Again, it's around looking at the sustainability of the facility, thinking longer term, thinking needs versus wants versus nice to haves. You're kind of getting into that, and then ultimately with the recommendation, including MOSH and some community input as well into it. So you'll see that as a common recommendation, and I just wanted to point that out. Many of the Kirkton Woodham facilities contain that same wording, and I should note as well, this has been provided directly to MOSH, so they do have a copy of the report with the agenda going public. I'm now going to skip to page 41. And this is the third example I wanted to provide as you're reviewing it. And this would be an example of a facility that, as you discuss over all the facilities, there's a potential that you may have a facility like this one, you could sort of put off to the side and say, yeah, we have to deal with this, but we can deal with it in isolation. So that's kind of the intent. So you can have a parallel discussion, there's certainly nothing wrong with that. It may take you a lot of time to work through the rest of it, but you could have a parallel discussion on something like this. I'm now going to skip to page 43. And again, at the top of page 43, under the additional conditions, couple of notes. The consultant did look strictly at age. So what I would say with a playground as an example, staff or the average member of the public certainly could walk by and say, is that playground in good shape? And then we had the consultant look at it and said, based on age and the fact that accessibility standards change over time, health and safety standards change over time, probably a good idea to consider replacement. I would strongly suggest with both of our sets of playgrounds that we possibly have the manufacturer come and take a quick look at it as well. Oftentimes they provide inspection services, not that much money. And it would be very, very small in the grand scheme of things as compared to putting in another $70,000 or $80,000 set of playground equipment. We would be very wise to spend a couple thousand, and they say, you know what, it needs a new swing saddle, it needs a couple of new hooks, one new step, and a couple $1,000 later, you're good to go. I would strongly suggest we do that before we bring in the IO and tear out the equipment. The other item I would maybe think to where this could be drawn out, I've made a recommendation there that we talk to the Optimus Club of Downey. They've had a lot of interest in the past with the park, and that might be an opportunity even now to say, hey, could we have at least a discussion where you folks at? They have expressed some interest in the past in the playground equipment, and it may be worth having that as a discussion outside of the overall facilities review. So I just bring that to your attention for consideration as well. And certainly when it comes to the playground surfacing, we discussed this at the time of the presentation. Very, very wise to investigate other surfacing options before we rush ahead and go with rubber. That certainly is the best. It's the Cadillac version of what you would put down, but there are other options. So I think that's very important to investigate first. Okay, now I'm going to skip to page 8. We're almost done here, folks. And I think I was gonna show you there, yes, that's just the summary of the recommendations, so they are all included. As much as they were included throughout the report as well. And that's what I had. So I guess I would start by saying, is there anything from questions of clarification or gaps that members of council would see that before you would have a more fulsome discussion you'd like to see for information?
Council? Councilor Vanessa?
I've got one question here. Should we go on page 4? What is that, recommendations. Second paragraph under poor, very poor. Which it says here, clearly noted values received from ABSI must be reviewed as a guidepost. And until we tender for work, we don't know true costs. How do we know what to tender if we don't really know what the cost is?
I think oftentimes you don't know what the cost is until you tender. You have.
Every road, every municipal, area, we have a pretty good idea. Every road, we have a pretty good idea.
Right, I guess what I'm saying is you.
I guess how do we, how do we list them in priority if we don't have a clue on the costs, I guess? If you kind of know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, no, it is a good question, like, I think I was looking at, and this is actually helpful, Councilor Van Ness, I guess I was looking at it more globally, for a building, so I would look at the building as a whole. And you start with the process of, does it make sense to keep the building or not? And then it's a matter of, okay, should we invest in it or not? And then you kind of pick out your priorities and you work from there. But yeah, if you're starting from the perspective of, yes, we're gonna keep the building, where do we start with our projects? I can see where you would, I guess you would run into that, where I would start with the poor and very poor items.
Yeah, of course.
Whether or not they're, the estimates are close or not, I don't know that we can work with that, I see what you're saying. But yeah, I think if you started from the perspective of would you like to keep the building or not, and work from there, you might be in a better spot to decide whether you want to do the work or not.
And then one second question, on page 5, that's where you started with the poor condition facilities. Near the bottom of that, just give me a second here, page is that? Oh, here, options on page 17.
Yeah.
I'd like to add a third option. Or at least have a discussion on the third option. We spend very little on some buildings and actually look at replacing them. Don't spend a pile of money for 2 or 3 years. If we're looking at replacing them. Like, looking at option 3 on the building beside it. ABSI had us spending $194,000 the first year. You came up with, I believe, around $157,000. I personally think that should be deferred as much as possible and certainly look at something else, possibly a new building.
Sure, and as you say, that's at the bottom of page 17.
Yes.
Yes, I maybe should have written that a little bolder, myself, that's my fault, Councilor Van Ness. I guess that's really what I was thinking, if there's something absolutely necessary, because of course we can't. Build tomorrow, so we would have to do something absolutely necessary, however, not spending any more than we have to. So I guess I was thinking that, but maybe not quite as bold, as that statement. But that was kind of my intent.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Councilor Jeffrey?
So this is more actually, Will, this is the presentation itself. I've had a number of people pull me aside or give me a call about this one. So the Optimist Club Downey, or the Downey Optimist Training Center is the only one that's called in for AODA compliance. That's the only one that I've seen, so I'm looking at ABSI's presentation. In this one, it's page 25. So it's the presentation for sale final. And it's the next presentation.
Oh, right.
Page 25.
My internet's not happy.
No, it's no problem. Hey,
We'll grab it here.
Yeah, so this is the only facility that's called out for AODA compliance, and I have no problem with that. I'm just curious why this is the only spot that AODA, and I completely understand the Accessibility Act, but I'm surprised that this community center was the only one that was called out for it. Are all the other facilities completely compliant? I'm not sure that.
So, yeah, and I don't know that I ever received confirmation on that. It's a good question. I think the intent in the presentation likely was demonstrating something, and unfortunately, it's probably one of our better facilities from that perspective. So, and you're calling out the good student in class versus.
Right, so as a result of that, that's been raising a number, some concerns within the optimism and the surrounding community.
Of course, yes.
Why? Because actually people actually read
Yes,
these presentations. There are people that apparently are as crazy as us, after looking at it. So I've just had a number of questions, so I wanted to address this. I know I could have done it with the phone call, but
Yeah,
I felt
no
like this is a
worries.
side form.
What I will do, I'll be honest, in terms of the report, I didn't put a lot of energy into the Downey Optimus Hall, knowing that it was in good shape, and quite honestly, the least of my concerns right now, and why I didn't present that to council. I will look into this tomorrow, if there is something.
Yeah, so
significantly
it's the opening statement, the facility is partially accessible, core barrier free elements are in place, targeted upgrades are required to achieve full AOT compliance by 2026. So it almost feels like, are we being mandated here or?
I would go so far as to say, it's basically making an example of the good student in the class. That's the way I would treat that right now, because after working through this exercise, there are much bigger issues in some of the facilities to work through, but I will get that information. Forward.
Thank you, Bob.
Was that, do you want to say anything?
No, I was just gonna say, I am part of the, compliance for the AODA. Every year we report on it. I work with the county, but we also work with the province to do our reporting, and they have had no issues. We actually had our first audit in 2025, which was quite interesting. So they did pick on the Downey Optimist Community Center because we added upgraded parking, so they got very I wanna say picky. They want, Ken can attest to this.
Very
Very detailed. We had to go out and, because we put an approximate measurement in, and they said, well, actually, it should be this, and it's like, okay, well, we'll go out. We went and took the tape measure, and so it was all fully compliant, so don't worry about that. Yes, you're right, there are certain things that are, that met the requirements, but they're constantly upgrading, so,
Yes.
and that's, you're not out of compliance, but anytime you make a change, the AODA says you have to do it to this new standard, so.
Thank you.
There was a bunch of work done at the pool as well. Yep.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, so again, I just wanted some explanation so that people see this specific slide. And it's the only time that it's referenced in the presentation.
No, I will look into that and I will get that information to you.
So you are really wanting us to have another meeting where we go through all of these separately?
Yeah, and or whether it's an
Give
extension to
direction,
a meeting, but yes, just a breakout time separate from a. Yes,
Another meeting,
This is pretty big stuff.
yeah.
I concur.
so let's get through the budget.
Mhm.
then we'll plan another meeting.
Okay, no further questions? Recommendation that the council receives the report from information and that sufficient time be scheduled at an upcoming council meeting or that a special council meeting will be scheduled in order for a fulsome discussion to occur regarding the completed building condition assessments, including the information in this report and associated recommendations. Moved by Councillor Corview, second by Councillor Vanessa, all those in favor? Okay. Thank you. Our correspondence. The town of Moosonee.
Thank you, Mayor Ward. This piece of correspondence, at our last council meeting, there was a support resolution put forward from the town of Oshkosh, I believe. And they were supporting this particular,
St. Charles.
right, St. Charles, correct. Thank you. They were supporting this particular resolution, but hadn't included it, and we had not received it. So, I reached out to the St. Charles clerk, and she provided the, resolution from the town of Moosonee. So, I put it under correspondence so that council could have a discussion on it, because, Councilor Bell had requested that council consider supporting. Did you want to speak to it, Karen?
Yeah, absolutely. So I appreciate you doing that, that's great. So this morning at 12:50 in York Region, a door was kicked in. 3 guys, 2 guns went into a home. The homeowner defended himself, shot one of them. One of them's in the hospital under arrest. The other 2 will soon, I'm sure, be arrested. Possibly forced into a revolving door, but that's a different story. The difference is that owner was able to protect his family. His or her, I have no idea, gender of the homeowner that was able to defend his home. And that's in York Region. When we start talking about rural areas with greater response times, you know, this is very concerning. So I would like to make a motion that we send a letter in support to all people here that the great corporation of the town of Moosonee called out. So Prime Minister, or Ministers of Justice, Attorney General of Canada, Premier of Ontario, Attorney General of Canada, or Ontario, Solicitor General, MPP Vic Fideli, and all Ontario municipalities. Again, our Premier has mentioned Castle Law a number of times recently. And this just legitimizes that right to defend yourself in your home. And it's not necessarily with a firearm, it could be with a baseball bat. In effect, when you're applying that force, you're committing an assault. This would remove that assault charge from a homeowner defending themselves or their children.
So you're looking for a letter
In support.
in support. Does that need to be a motion?
We generally do have a motion, and Councilor Bell had said he would move that.
Sure. Do we have a seconder? Councilor Vanessa, any more discussion? Councilor Martin?
Well, I believe there's value in this. I don't love this particular resolution from Moosonee for a couple reasons. The 30 minutes of I'm not sure we're experiencing a 30-minute delay. I don't want to look like we're saying we are. The other thing is around the Castle Law, which is not really a Canadian construct, right? So that's we do have self-defense laws. I'm not saying that what we have going on is great. I just don't love the way this particular one. We may make it look like we are saying that we are also having 30-minute delays to police service in our rural area.
Any further comments? Would you like to change or amend it at all, or?
No,
Go ahead.
if I could make a comment, so, would it be the intent of the motion, we don't necessarily have to support the wording, but the intent is that the various bodies look at strengthening self-defense protection and addressing rising home invasions in Ontario. So we could word our support resolution that for the general intent of the motion. I was directed to get the Moosonee just to have,
Also,
yeah, just so that we had but we don't have to necessarily support the full wording of the motion.
Right.
If council is good with supporting the intent of reviewing that situation.
and there is a bill on the table currently, correct, on changing, 434, there's resolutions for it.
I don't know.
It looks like it's been
There's-
tabled, and
there's so
I
many.
know, that's the thing, is I tried to do some research on this after it, and it does look like there's work being done in that, so. I just feel like I don't fully understand the changes to the bill that's being proposed. As much as I acknowledge there does need to be changes to the bill.
So how do you feel is going forward? You,
I'm just recommending because, Counselor Martin had indicated that she had some,
reservations?
reservations about some of the wording, and Counselor Bell was okay with, the concept of reviewing the strengthening of the Protection Act, self-defense protection, oh my gosh, it's getting late.
If I may.
Yeah,
So there is a motion on the floor.
yes,
Yes.
So, I can call for the vote. Or are we okay with calling for the vote?
Sure.
Sure, okay, those in support of. Do you have a question?
Yeah, what are we voting on? That's.
we're supporting the
What's that,
Moosonee.
what's that say?
No, we're supporting the town of Moosonee, resolution. And circulating it to the same group of people that were indicated on their list.
So we could have this vote and then there could be a second motion for that vote. So I'll call the vote. Those in favor of supporting the resolution as is from Lucy, all those in favor? 1, 2. Not in favor, so that is defeated. Would anyone like to make a second motion? Councilor Bell?
So if I rephrase it, resolution strengthening or, letter. In support of strengthening self-defense protections and addressing rising home invasions in Ontario, and left it at that with the distribution route.
Do we have a seconder? For that?
So would this be a new resolution?
Yeah, that was defeated.
No, sorry, not a new motion, but like a new. We're not supporting Moosonee's resolution as it's written. We're
Correct.
creating a new resolution
Yes.
from this council.
Yeah, correct.
Can we have some time to review what's on the table? Like I just don't feel fully informed in this, and I really would like to do a good job at this if we are there. I know I'm only one member of council. I just feel like I can't fully support it yet, and I don't.
Do we need a seconder before we continue discussion or?
Yes,
Okay, so I need a seconder,
or just,
Or I can withdraw.
okay,
yeah.
okay, withdraw. Counselor Courtney, you had a comment?
I'd be interested in the bill that they're bringing forward and just see what's in there, and then maybe that's something we would support the bill that they're bringing forward, I don't know, but. Another bill. Anyway, can we defer it and then for more information, I guess?
I'm comfortable with that, but Is everybody else
Mhm.
deferring it for more information on Bill 34? And, potentially drawing up our own wording for strengthening self-defense protections and addressing rising home invasions in Ontario. Okay, so we don't need a motion, we're going to do a little more homework, okay. Moving on, we're at council reports, mayor and council reports, Sam, do you want to start?
I replaced Bob at the Perth Community Center with Will, and it was very good discussion. I made a recommendation that Tim shoot phone Ken Wolf and discuss how Cedarville is run, and how they do things, because, if you go on their website, Cedarville Athletic Associate, it's amazing, like really good website. And I give that information to Tim and Ken's phone number. So hopefully they connect and then, cause it sounds like they would like to be incorporated. Kind of the way they're leaning to, where Cedarville would be much like what they wanna do. So I'm not sure where that'll go, but, it's a good start for them to. And they had a young lady there that just joined the board, and she's very interested in getting a website up to actually find a phone number to phone somebody to rent the hall, which has been an issue. So it was a good meeting. It was really good. Will did a great job there, and see where it goes.
Councilor Buck?
Actually, it's been quiet, yeah, it's actually been very quiet for me for a change.
Okay, Councilor Martin?
I had the opportunity to attend chocolate bar bingo in Seaburyville at the community center. And let me tell you, if you get a chance to go, you have some small people in your life. I don't have to borrow some and I drag my big people with me. It is 1 hour, they play 10 rounds of bingo, you can win a bag of chocolate bars, all the kids leave with the chocolate bars. That's Seaburyville Athletic Association. They run a tight ship and that was an incredible, like, the cost of admission was 2 chocolate bars. And it was, it was packed, like they, every tape, it was impressive, so it's, yeah, I highly recommend chocolate bar.
Sorry, Sue, to that, when's the dinner? When,
The 30th, I think,
the
the
third?
Monday.
Okay.
Councilor Vanessa?
I was looking for
I too have very little to report. We had a rather interesting county council meeting and leave it at that. And we have been called to a Perth East Joint Fire meeting. That will be on the 30th. We're going to post it at 1 o'clock because a lot of us are going to the SAA later on. Yeah. No other questions, comments? We are at my report at 10.2, recommendation that the report regarding the mayor's monthly activity for the month of February 2026, dated March 17th, 2026, be received for information. Moved by Councillor Jeff Bell, second by Councillor Martin. Any discussion? No? All right, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We are at bylaws. Bylaw 13/2026 to amend 42/2015 planning fees. So the planning fee chart was attached. I have a recommendation of the bylaw 13/2026 being a bylaw to amend by bylaw 42/2015. Be given first, second, and third readings and be properly signed and sealed. Moved by Councillor Corview, second by Councillor Jeff Bell. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. We are at any announcements for this evening? Any notices of motion? Any other business? Any public question periods? And we are at confirmatory bylaw, recommendation of the bylaw 14/2026 being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution of the township of Perth South. Be given first, second, and third readings and be properly signed and sealed. Moved by Councillor Corby, second by Councillor Vanessa. All those in favor? Any opposed, carried. We are in adjournment, recommendation that the meeting is adjourned at 8:43. Moved by Counselor Jeff Bell, second by Counselor Corby, all those in favor. None opposed, carried. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.